Nijika from Bocchi the Rock is the embodiment of unconditional kindness in its purest form. Just one glance at her warm smile can reassure you like no other character. And tell me, when was even the last time you saw a person like her? Someone who goes out of their way to be patient and understanding, empathizing with others as she did with Bocchi, despite meeting her for the first time. In the world we live in today, meeting genuine kind souls is like finding a needle in a haystack. With how much negativity is circulating in the world, many slowly join the cycle of hatred. But it is through those who have seen the worst of the world who become the kindest. And Nijika is no exception. Behind her kindness lies a past I wouldn't even wish on my own worst enemy. A type of experience she took to heart, and is the reason why Kesuga Band exists today. Yet, even with the cruelty and unfairness of the world, she still chose to be kind to the world that took something important from her. But what does it really mean to be kind? Is kindness simply offering a smile and giving people what they ask? No, that's called being nice. And there's a huge difference between being nice and being kind. Kindness comes from empathy and sincerity, helping other people regardless of who they are, while being nice is the act of trying to please other people. Let's take Kita for example. Out of the 4 in Kesuga Band, Kita is the friendliest regardless of who she interacts with. But as friendly as she is, her mannerisms lacks the warmth Nijika has, as if she's putting up a front, which is explained in chapter 41 of the manga. During the performance requested by their principal, Kita revealed the troubles of being an extrovert. She told Bocchi that as an extrovert, she feels the pressure to keep up with trends and blend into social situations. She even admits that sometimes she does things she doesn't enjoy and can't say no to people just to avoid being disliked. This is why Kita always seems to go hang out with her friends, trying out new dishes and drinks, while staying extremely active in social media. While she has good intentions, she seems to suffer from a people-pleasing tendency that stems from her own insecurities, as I explained in my last video, so go check that out after this. Now compare this to Nijika. Right from her very first appearance, she gave off a naturally warm presence, conversing with the extremely anxious Bocchi. Although she was initially put off by Bocchi's awkward behavior, Nijika made her feel welcome in the live house and patiently reached out, reassuring her that everything would be alright even if she was afraid of people. I doubt she met anyone as timid as Bocchi before, but that didn't stop Nijika from treating her with the same compassion as she does with everyone. But do not mistake her kindness for weakness. Oftentimes, when we see a benevolent person, we get the impression that they're naive and are easy to take advantage of. But that's not true. Kind-hearted people are aware of what's wrong and right, and they know when they're being treated unfairly. They're not a pushover. This is evident in Nijika's friendship with Ryo. Even though she looks out for Ryo and sometimes even spoils her, she does not tolerate her bad behavior. As Ryo is a broke bassist, she has the tendency to look for opportunities to gain money out of someone. But as soon as Nijika notices this behavior of hers, she intervenes and makes sure Ryo is accountable for her actions. One such example is when Ryo borrowed money from Bocchi without ever returning it. And as soon as Nijika became aware of this, she immediately made her return the money she borrowed, knowing Bocchi was most likely pressured. Nijika knows her own values, and she can stand up not only for herself, but for other people as well. But aside these, the sweetest acts of kindness comes from the smallest gestures. After all, it's the small actions that makes a huge difference. You may not have noticed it when you're watching the anime, but there are subtle hints of Nijika picking up on Bocchi's preferences and comfort level. In episode 5, Nijika ended the band practice when she noticed Bocchi's tiredness. She met up with her later that night in front of a vending machine and offered her a cola without asking, which is actually Bocchi's preferred drink as it was shown in episode 4, a scene when Bocchi was drinking one. This was Nijika's way of making her feel comfortable before asking if Bocchi was fine with the activities of the band, since she was new to all of this. And if you think this is just a coincidence, then you're wrong, because there's more. In episode 7, we see Bocchi snapping out of her spiral when her mother prepares her with what I assume is her favorite food. Since both Kita and Nijika were there when that happened, she was able to take notice of this. So in episode 8, when Bocchi was already overwhelmed by the social situation she was in and was asked what she would like to order, Nijika cut in and ordered the same food that lifted Bocchi's mood in episode 7, since Nijika sensed her discomfort and spoke up for her, even though Nijika made it seem like she was ordering for herself. And how can we forget how Nijika continually encourages Bocchi to get out of her shell? This one isn't subtle, but in episode 2, Nijika shows Bocchi around the lifehouse for her part-time job, patiently explaining what she needs to do even though Bocchi was mostly breaking down. In the end, Nijika was able to give her just a little bit of courage to face a customer and give them their order. Do you now see how considerate and emotionally intelligent Nijika is? People would often look past these small details about others, but not Nijika. And that's what makes people like her so special. But she wasn't born kind. It's her past experiences and struggles that made her who she is today. And as I said at the beginning of the video, the kindest people are born through the worst of the world. Nijika's kindness contrasts with her heart-breaking past. She was like any other child back then. Energetic, bratty, and oblivious to the harshness of the real world. But that all changed one fateful day. After her mother met up with Seika, Nijika's older sister, when she ran away, the unexpected happened. Her mom was caught in a traffic accident, killing her instantly. Nijika cried for days, refusing to even go to school. She was very well aware that her mother was gone. She wasn't anywhere anymore. But it was during this time that Seika realized her sister needed her the most, after having neglected both Nijika and their mother. It is through Seika that she was able to stand up again and get the support she needed, as she gave Nijika something to look forward to in life. A dream of being a famous drummer in a successful band. It was at this moment that Nijika realized that even at the lowest point of your life, all it takes is one act of kindness for hope to reignite within your heart. It shaped who she is today. And just as Seika was there for her at her lowest, Nijika was as well for everyone unconditionally. And that is why she's known as an angel. And if I were to ask you, would you be able to show the world the same kindness she did if it were to treat you so unfairly? Your answer would most likely be no. You'd think that the world doesn't deserve your kindness after what it did to you. But haven't you once thought that maybe being unkind to others is also being unkind to yourself? By hating others, all you're doing is making even more enemies, resulting in you making your life more of a hell than it needs to be. Because hatred breeds hatred, but so does kindness. Most of the time, the compassion you're searching for can be found within yourself. And through yourself, you can inspire kindness to others. You don't have to desire and wait for Nijika to come into your life. Stop waiting for an angel. Be someone's angel.